So I'm just going to leave the comments here so that I can always see them. And I'm going to create a new folder called week 2. And inside of the week 2 folder, I'm going to put whatever stuff we have to work on for this week. So I'm going to head to the App Academy website here on IT Varsity. Let's see, week 2. Okay, so they have a lot of stuff that's just like telling us about CSS here, no lesson so far. And then this, I guess, is our first lesson. I'm just going to turn down my volume a lot because my microphone is turned up quite high, so I don't want it to sound too loud. Actually, let me mute it altogether.
To get a good understanding of what CS as well as CSS, now the site we are looking at uses both colors that are being used, styles, the beautiful fonts, and use the exact same plain old website suddenly becomes much more
Okay, so in lesson 1 it looks like you're just talking about CSS. There's no actual work to do here. And I'm going to go to the next chapter now, lesson 2. And he's showing us how to do external file sheets here.
style.css.
So it says this lesson will teach you how to style your pages using cascading style sheets, so CSS. All the styling information for your website will live on style.css. So let's create that file. I'm going to open up this folder in VS Code. And I'm going to create the index.html and the styles.css. Okay, so now what do they want us to do? They just want us to link the style sheet here. So first I'm going to make that HTML file. And then in here I'm just going to link the CSS, so link. And then the rel will be style sheet, and the href I'm going to say style.css. And now it should be linked, so let's head back. They want us to put an h1 attribute in the CSS and give it the color green property, and then create a p attribute and give it the color coral attribute. Okay, and let's create the p attribute. So to create an attribute, you just type the name of the tag. So in HTML, you have h1 tags and you have p tags. So you just type the name of the tag here, and then you use these curly braces to open and close. And in between the curly braces, you put whatever attributes you want to give to this tag. So here we're just giving it the color green. And it has this, I think you call this a colon, and then this one is a semicolon. So the colon is whatever's on the left of it is the property we're adjusting, and whatever's on the right of it is the value that we're giving to it. And then a semicolon is used to end each of these attributes. So for the p tag here, it wanted us to add the color coral. So I'm just going to save that and get rid of this random h1 that I made here. Okay, what's next? Double quotes. Okay, so this is just tips for if the code is not working for you, but I'm 100% sure that it is. So let's go to the next page. Looks like they're just going to give us some stuff to write here, like home page, heading, or whatever. So they want us to style the H1 and style the P. So let me just see what they have on their page. They have an H1 here, and probably all the way down to H6, and then another H1 here. So I'm just going to put some random text here just so that we can see it, and then I'm going to style a P tag here. So this is a P tag, and then I'll put some H2 tags here so that we can see that it's only styling the H1 and not the H2. This is a H2 tag, and then let's make an H3 as well. So I'll save this, and I'm going to click go live now so that I can see the page, and we can see that it's styled the P tag in coral. That's coming from here where we style the P tag, and it styled the H1 tag in green, and again that's coming from here where we style the H1 tags, and the two H2 and H3 tags, you can see there's no styling applied to it, it's just black with nothing added. So that's how styling works in CSS. They're also talking about fonts here, so let's skip forward a little bit.
To change fonts with the H1. To change the font.
And by the way, like here where there's suddenly stuff in the HTML, but he didn't show himself writing it there. Like they already taught us HTML in week 1. So you should just like automatically fill it in yourself. You should already know how to use these tags. And yeah, if you don't, just go back to lesson 1 and rewatch the stuff.
Of an element, we use a property known as font
Okay,
family.
so now he's
Notice
doing
the
font
spelling.
family
It
on
says
the H1
font
tag,
dash
and I assume it's just this code down here. He's using sans serif on the H1 and fantasy on the P tag. Let me just go do that quickly. Okay, so if I save this and head back, we should see now that fonts are applied here. So this is the sans serif font, and this is the fantasy font. So let's head back to the video and see what's happening.
It's font family. In the browser, we refresh, and there we have it. Our paragraphs are...
Okay, it looks like that's all he did, and there's some images down here. I'm pretty sure this page he's styling is the page we made in week 1. So I'm just going to click next here, and we reached the end of this first getting started with CSS thing. Oh, there's 2 sections in the first area. So let's click next here and get to the code bullet lists. Just going to click play here. Let me skip forward a bit.
List bullets.
Okay, let's skip back a bit and see what he did.
In this
And it looks like he has some lists here already. So again, where we were expected to finish learning HTML by ourselves after week 1. So week 2 we've moved on to CSS, and probably in week 3 they're just going to skip ahead to JavaScript. So I'm going to show you the tags to do this, but if you didn't already know the tags for this, I suggest you go watch like a HTML playlist that's on my channel. So to do these 2 lists, this one with the dots is called an unordered list, and the one with numbers is called an ordered list. So I'm going to get rid of this. And to create an unordered list, we use the UL tag. And then to create an ordered list, I'm going to use the OL tag. and I'm going to save this. And between the opening and closing of the unordered list tags, by the way, you can press tab, like if your cursor starts here, you press tab to move it to where it's supposed to be. Or maybe sometimes you'll need to press tab twice to get far enough to where it looks correct, because it would look really ugly if we created something here now. So anyways, now to create items inside of a list, we want to use the li. So let me first go over this before I start typing anymore. UL stands for unordered list, OL stands for ordered list, so numbers, and then LI stands for list items. And the items we're going to add are, they don't say here, apples, grapes, oranges, strawberries. Okay, probably going to spell that wrong, but who cares, it's just, it has nothing to do with the code. Apples. Also here where I'm copying down the list item, because it's just the same thing a few times, I'm going to press Alt on my keyboard and hold it down, and also Shift and hold it down, and then I'm going to press the down arrow, and this will duplicate the line. So now I've got about 4 lines here. Apples, grapes, oranges, strawberries. Okay, got it. Don't judge me for my spelling here, I'm bad at it. Grapes, oranges, and strawberries. I think that's how you spell strawberries. Yes. Okay, then we have eggs, milk, flour, and sugar here. Eggs, and let's duplicate this line. Remember, it's Alt, Shift, and down. Eggs, milk, flour, and sugar. Okay, let's save this and let's head back to our page and make sure it's the same as what he's looking at. And yeah, it looks the same.
Style our list.
Let's play a bit more
We
here.
need to create a. From looking at this link in our style sheet, we'll put in a selector for UL. We'll
Okay,
say
so he added a bunch of style here, but basically these are the only 2 that are important. He's using list style type with the circle, so that's going to add a circle here to the, instead of these dots we'll use a circle. And then on the ordered list he's using a style type of upper Roman, which I'm not even sure what that is. But anyways, let's enter this and see what it looks like. Let's do list style type circle, and then on the ordered, wait, which way did he do this? He did the unordered list with the circle and the ordered list with the upper Roman. So I've typed it wrong here. This should be UL. And then down here we're doing OL, and this one should be Roman. So let's go see what that looks like. This is, it's basically the same thing, it just has a hollowed out center now. And then on the ordered list it's now using Roman numerals. And yeah, that's all they speak about here. Let me just go through the video to make sure he doesn't do anything else. By the way, like all of this code up here that he has, you don't need to copy all of that or put it in here or whatever. If they need you to do it, they'll put it in this code block down here. I think this is just for like demo purposes. I don't know why his CSS file is so long. But if you really look at what's inside his CSS file here, this is for styling tables, and we don't have a table in our HTML, so there's no reason to have that in there. Yeah, this is table, this is table headers, table rows. We're not using tables right now, so there's no reason to type out the rest of the CSS that's in here. List bullet image. They're gonna ask me to download an image.
We are now going
Last
to
time they asked us to
replace the
download
bullets
images,
in
it
our
didn't go
unordered
so well.
list with
Hopefully
images.
this time they
Now
fixed
the
whatever
image
they
I've
broke.
got inside my images folder already, and it's this one.
Okay, so I get what he's trying to do. He just wants us to use a leaf here instead of the dot. And let's try and download this pointer icon. Or actually download it this time. Okay. Let me try and put it inside our folder here. Okay, that worked. And let's see, to apply it we just do list style image and then we put the URL of the image here. So let's do it on the unordered list. I think that's what he did here as well. Yes. And we'll change the list type image, list style image, and here we'll do URL, and then in quotation marks here. Remember, when you're using URL here, you have to pass the location in quotation marks. It's the same as if you were to use src here or href here. You need to use the quotation marks when you're giving a file name. And it's just pointer icon, so I'm just going to type that out, save it. Let's head back and see what it looks like. And yeah, it looks like something is wrong there. Or is that actually the icon they gave us? Yeah, that is the icon they gave us. So why did they use a leaf in the... Let me skip ahead and see what his looks like, because I think this leaf looks way better.
So we refresh and you can see our
Yeah,
bullet
it's the same
pointers.
thing.
And
I'm going to put my own image there. God, that looks like trash. Let me put one of these smiley faces. We'll use this one. I'm gonna copy it, paste it here, and in our code let's change this to, let me delete all of this, and let's change to the name of our image. Head back to the site, and yeah, that's all wrong. I guess the image size is a bit too big there. We can always resize the image and then move it in here, but let's not do all of that now. Actually, yeah, let's do it, because some of you might be wanting to use your own image. So to do it, we head to our folder. We want to click on this, like double click to open it. And up here you want to select edit. So resize image, or there's also an edit button somewhere up here. I don't remember where about. But you hit resize image and then you type the new image size here. I suggest like 16 would be the best here if you're using it as a pointer. 16 pixels, by the way, don't accidentally select percentage or something. And let's click save here, and they're asking us to give it a name, so I'm going to save it inside of the same folder, which is just on my desktop here, and then course files, and week 2. I'm going to call this pointer face. So pointerface.png, we set the size to 16 by 16, and we did that by clicking on the resize button here in the drop down. So I'm going to click save here. Okay, it says it's saved. Let's close this. Let's delete the image here again, and this time we'll use the pointer face. Save it. And yeah, that looks a lot better. It's still not very clear, but like, who really wants to use pictures there anyway? So let's head back to the App Academy thingy. we're done with this video. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, it looks like we're going to section 3 now. And yeah, making a beautiful menu bar.
HTML, my index.html page. Before we can begin styling, I'm going to
Okay,
need
so it
to
looks like he
link this-
started again. He created a new HTML document. So I'm going to do that as well. Let me close this completely. And inside of the folder, I'm going to call this section 1 and 2. And I'm going to put everything into there. And then I'm going to create a new folder here called section 3. And I'm going to open that in VS Code. So let me close this terminal. Open in terminal, we'll do code and dot to open it up in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to create a new index.html file here, and also a new style.css. And in the index file, I'm just going to create this HTML body here. In the CSS, I'm not going to do anything yet. I'm just going to link it here. So the rel of the link tag will be style sheet, and the href will be the name of the file, which is style.css. And it looks like I gave it a bad name here, so I'm going to press F2 and change this to style. And then I'll change this to style.css. Okay, so now we have the correct style sheet linked here. Let's go back to the video and see what they're doing.
HTML document to my style sheet.
So
I'll
rel
use the
style
link
sheet
rel
here,
is
they're just
equal to
linking
style
it now.
sheet, and I'll set the href to style.css.
And let me skip forward a
That
bit
says
here.
text dash decoration.
So
I'm gonna
they're
set
doing
that
a
to
text
none.
decoration on
And
the
I'll
A
set
tags.
the href to style for A.
Okay, let me just scroll down here and see what code they have. So in the body, they have an A tag or a link that goes to home. They have an href of about and contact. So basically there's 3 links, one for home, one for about, and one for contact. And they're probably making this bar that goes at the top here. So like a navigation bar. So I'm just going to copy the 3 links here, or we can even just type them out ourselves. So we'll do a tag, href will be index.html, and we'll call this home. I'm going to copy this down 2 times. Here I'm just going to change this to a hash. So if you don't know what the hash does, it just basically reloads the same page. It doesn't take you to a different page. But if you didn't put the hash here, you just left it blank, it wouldn't show up as a link. So that's why we put the hash here, even though it doesn't take us anywhere. So I think the next one is about and contact. So let me save this and head back to the website. Here it is, those 3. And then we're just doing the CSS down here. So for the A tag, it wants us to use a font family of Helvetica or sans serif. For the text decoration, we want none. For the background color is aquamarine. Text decoration, so the reason why we're writing that is if you head back here, I forgot to start the live server here. If we reload this page, we can see that these links have like underscores under them, like an underline. So to get rid of that, it's called a text decoration. So let's head back to our style. We'll style the A tag and we'll say text decoration is none. And if I save this, now we're removing the decoration that was on it, which is the underline, and that's gone. And then it just wants us to add some padding, some font family and background color. So let's do the color next. Background color, aquamarine I think it was. Yeah, padding of 5 pixels. So I did a whole video about padding and margin. If you guys want to check that out, make sure you check out the playlist that's on this channel. And yeah, we have background color, padding, text decoration. Now we just add this font family thing here. We're using Helvetica or sans serif. I think the reason why they use a comma here and then a different font is if you don't have Helvetica on your system, it will default to using the sans serif font. And I don't think they say it down here, but yeah, I think that's the reason why they have 2 fonts here. Let me just do font family, Helvetica, sans serif. Okay, for some reason when I auto completed that, it also added the Arial thingy, but we just want Helvetica, sans serif. And let's save this and head back. And yeah, that looks right. Now let's do the A tag and hover. So what this hover property does is basically we can have 2 things happen. One is the default styling, and when we hover our mouse above it, we can apply a different styling. And that's cool for making your page look a bit more interactive and stuff. So they're going to change the background color and the color of the text when you hover above it. So again, we'll do the same A tag as we did up here, and we're going to use a colon and then hover. And now we do our curly braces, and inside of here we want to change the color, and I think they had that at black. No, white it was. White. Let's just type out white here. And before I click on this, notice that it says white here and the color is all F's for the code, and that's the same code they give us here. If you're wondering what that code means, the first so it's split up into 6 characters here. The first 2 characters are the red value, the second 2 are the green, and the third 2 are the blue. I think I might be mixing up the order, but you get the idea. It's a RGB value. And if you're wondering why there's alphabets there, it's because it's using hex color codes. So hex is a number system that goes up to 16 instead of the normal 10. And how it works is we have our normal numbers like 1, 2, 3 until 9. And after 9, instead of moving to 2 digits to do 10, it stays at 1 digit and it goes 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 basically. Okay, so it wasn't a 16 digit like I thought, it's 14. But anyways, the color, we're going to set it to white here. And then what was the background color? Again, it doesn't really matter what colors you set here. You could just set it to random colors, it's fine. We're mostly just worried about figuring out how the specific codes work. So I'm gonna head back here. We have the A hover done and we have the A done. Let's head to the next one. We saved this already, so I'm going to show you how it works. If I hover above this now, you can see the color changes a little bit. I'm going to zoom in. So that's what the hover tag does. And let's click next here. Working with div boxes. So let's play this.
Single hyperlink my page, and this is what I get. So you can my menu bar. So he's messed up my menu bar.
By the way, if you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments.
Now how do you fix this? I refresh my page and this is what I get. So
in the previous lessons we made some awesome menus and that's super.
Is shaped like a button. Now this won't do. So I need to go and fix this. Now I have one of two options here. The first way is to completely remove all the styling.
I see. So they're teaching us how to use a div to style only specific things. So what they're saying here is we styled our A tags to look like buttons, but this will style every single A tag on the page. So if somewhere down here we had an article and we wanted it to just be a link to somewhere, it's going to end up having this style as well because it's also an A tag. And it looks like we're using the ID property or the class name.
But
I don't like here how it says the div must be given an ID or a class name.
So he's messed up my
technically you can just make like how many ever divs you want. You don't have to give it anything. A div is just made to group things together.
Now the answer is in the form of div boxes. Now what exactly is a div box? A div box is a set of tags.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit here. They created a div, they give it the ID of menu bar. And yeah, that's basically all they did. So let's do that here. We'll go to the HTML and we'll create a div here. And by the way, instead of creating the div and then inside of here typing class and then equals to sign and these quotes, what we can do is we can type div and then dot menu dash bar. So you want to type div, you want to put a dot here, and then you want to type the name of the class that you want to give it. And while you're still on this line, you want to... Oh, so the reason why you'd use ID instead of class is ID is for styling one specific thing, class is for styling many things. So for example, if we, let me just create a class here, like button, btn, and let me get rid of all of this like he did as well. So width would be 200 pixels, height would be 200 pixels, and let's do background color of blue. Okay, so down here below all the links, I'm going to create a div with the class of btn. So that's this thing we just created here. And the reason why we would use class here is because, let me just show you how this looks first. So it's basically just a box. Did I not link it or something? btn. Oh, I forgot to put the dot here. So when we're using a class name, we need to start it with this dot. If we're using the name of a tag, we don't need this dot. So I'm going to put this dot back and save it. And this would create a box that's 200 by 200 with the color blue. And the reason why we use div for something like this is because if we wanted more than one of them, we can just create more divs with the class of btn. And that would now give us two boxes here. But ID, we're meant to give one ID to each element. So technically there's nothing stopping us from giving the same ID to this tag and this tag, but we're not meant to use ID that way. ID is meant to give a unique one to each tag. And so that's probably why he's giving an ID to the navigation bar at the top. Okay, let's head back and see what he did here because I forgot the name. It's menu bar. And yeah, thanks for telling me it was ID there because I was about to give it a class instead of an ID. So we want to do div, and this time instead of the dot we want to use the hash symbol here, and then menu bar. So if we type div here, the hashtag and then menu bar, and we put our cursor at the end here and press tab. Actually I need to finish typing that out and press tab now. it will automatically create a div with the ID of menu bar. So I'm just going to do that again one more time. If we use div with a dot and a name next to it, and we press tab, it will automatically create a div with the class. If we type div and we put a hashtag next to it and then we give it a name like menu bar, and we press tab, it will create a div automatically with an ID. So I'm going to press enter there, and he wanted us to move those links into it. So instead of copying it and pasting it up, we can just select all of it and you hold down Alt on your keyboard and press the up arrow. So that moves all the code one up, and if there was a line of code above it, it will move it below. Also, like if your code is really messed up like this, like it looks really weird, because I've seen some of you sharing screenshots and stuff that looks like this, you press Alt, Shift and F, and that will automatically like reformat your code to make it look nice. So we've done this now. The code CSS. So this hash here is how we style IDs. So when we're working with classes, we use the dot. When we're working with just HTML elements, we don't need the dot, we just type the name of the element. And when we're working with IDs, we use the hashtag and then the name of the ID. And I'm going to get rid of this random stuff we typed. Let me head back. So they want us to change the font. We're going to use the same Helvetica or sans serif. Oh, it looks like this is just what we typed out in the last lesson, so all you did is change what was written here. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to paste it here. And usually I wouldn't recommend you copy and paste all the stuff, but I've already typed it out, so I'm not going to type the whole thing out again. And here he's doing two things. So he's typing the hashtag menu bar, and then he put an A tag next to it. So what this means is he's not styling the menu bar, he's styling all A tags inside the menu bar. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to save that and let's go see what that looks like. Okay, so it looks correct. And then here he's doing menu bar again, the A tag and hover. Again, he's not styling this menu bar item, he's styling the A tags inside of it. So I'm going to copy this. Hashtag menu bar, A tag hover, and paste the code here. Okay, and that should work the same way it did before we changed it into a div. Yeah, just zoom in so you can see it. And now let's move on to the next lesson. Okay, so it looks like we reached the end here. Let's go to the superhero app now, but I'm just going to drink something first. Okay, so it looks like this will actually be short because I pressed, there was like 3 pages before this and it's already at 19% here. So let's get started with this. I'm going to create a new folder to work with this. I don't really care what folder structure he has here. So inside of the week 2 folder, I'm going to create a new folder called superhero app. And let's just open this up with VS Code. Let's recreate the index and the CSS again. So index.html, style.css, and let me put this back here. Okay.
In which it's going to be buttons. Now you need to pay a 6 on it. So we're going to...
Okay, so it looks like he has some images for us here. I'm going to download it, open this up, click inside of it. I wonder why there's this Mac folder here. Do they use different formats or something? Anyways, let's just use this normal images folder here. We'll copy it. Let's paste it into here, and then we can close that folder. So if we head back into VS Code now, there should be images here. And yeah, let's look at what he wants us to do. Okay, so it looks like we're going to add images to our code in this video.
We'll begin with the index.html, which includes... Now what I'm going to do here... Alright, so the source of the images.
Yeah, we know how to do this already.
Back to our code and check your work repeatedly.
Okay, let me just add one of these. He's using O1. And this alt thingy here, you can remove it. If you're wondering what it is, it's for people who can't load this image so the internet is slow, or people who have screen readers because they're blind or something. So this alt text is what the screen reader will read out to them. So I'm just going to get rid of this because we don't need it here. And okay, he just wants us to display this. He's using a div with the class of gallery here. So let me create that down here, div.gallery. I'm going to press tab and that will auto-complete it. And then up here I'm going to select the line. I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to press down. Okay. So let's start this live server again. And this is the Thor image. So he just wants us to list all of the images out here. He's not doing any styling right now. Maybe he'll do it on the next page. So let me just copy this out. I don't know how many there are. So let's do 2. Okay. 3 here. 4. Let's look at how many there are. So there's 6 in total. Let's copy this down 2 more times. We'll do 5 here. And then 6 down here. And let's save this. Make sure it's all working. Okay. And by the way, like if you're wondering why some of these images are on the same line and some are on the line below, or why when you create certain elements it shows you can have like multiple on the same line, and some elements they each go on to their own line. For example, lists, those ones all were on the same line, but if I did H1s, each H1 would be on a separate line. This is called block elements. So if image tag is a block element, I think that means it only takes up a block. I'm not sure the difference between block and I forgot what's the other name. Damn, let's go check this out. Block elements, HTML. Oh, block and inline. So I'm guessing block is the one that takes up the entire line, and then inline is ones that can have multiple on the same line. Yeah, so block elements, these are block elements. And then inline elements does not start on a new line. Okay, so I was wrong. Let me just show you that quickly. If I do image tags here and I say display inline, and I save this, it will, or did I link that file? Okay, so if I head back here, it should not be on different lines. So we have them like 2 here and then 2 here. Basically now they don't need to be on separate lines, but if we change this to inline, to block here, it will actually block other elements from being on the same line as it. Sorry, I forgot how that worked. I don't normally use CSS directly. I use this thing called Bootstrap. So Bootstrap, basically you add the Bootstrap into your code, and it has pre-written CSS styles there that you just use to style your HTML. But anyways, let's head back to this now. Let me get rid of that CSS that I wrote. And yeah, it has a div with the class of gallery, all of the images. We've done all this. Let's head to the next page. Resizing the images. We just want the width to be 100%. So again, we're styling the class of gallery here. So we want to use the dot and then gallery. And I'm pretty sure I saw him using, oh yeah, he did use the dot. I thought he used ID here. But anyways, it's the same thing. And then we use image here. Again, the reason why we're doing dot gallery and then image is because we want the styles we write in here to apply to any images that are in the gallery, if that makes sense. So it will apply to these images because they are inside of the gallery. But if we created another image down here, the styles wouldn't apply to this because it's not inside of the gallery. So what styles did he have there? I think it was just width 100%. Yeah, and he made them huge. Oh, I see what he's doing, because he's making an app, so it's meant to be looked at like this on a phone. But anyways, let's go back to full screen. Let's click on next here. Next again. So we're on section 2 now. Set up your app, add images, resize the images. Wait, didn't we already do all of that? Anyways, let's click on next. Okay, it looks like he's going to create a different page here.
The next step is to
Oh, I see what he's doing. He just wants us to create a page for each of the Avengers, and then he wants us to use what we did in lesson 1, so change the image into a link and make it link off to the page that tells us all of this. So this is just a bunch of info here, and it's put in H tags and P tags or whatever. If you really want to practice, you can type all of this, but I'm just going to copy it and paste it. I'm going to create a new file called Thor.html, and I'm going to paste it in here. Again, it's just random, like H tags, P tags. There's no links or anything in here, so it's fine. And he has the same gallery div here, and he has one image inside of it, and he's linking at the top here in the head to the same styles.css file. So you have to make sure that this Thor.html that you created is in the same folder as the styles.css and the images folder. Or if it's not, you have to change the file path here and here. But anyways, let me save this and let's see what else he does here. Looks like that's all he did. but I'm assuming he's going to put an A tag around this, so I'm just going to do it anyways now. A tag href is going to be Thor, and I'm going to move the closing of this A tag here to the end of the line. Okay, so I hope you can see that properly. I'm opening an A tag here. I'm linking to this Thor.html file, and then I'm closing the A tag at the end of the image. So the image becomes the content of that A tag. And let's head back to our site here. And if we reload and click on Thor here, it will take us to the Thor page where there's information about Thor. And we can also just use that trick we learned before with the inline and block elements. We can change this into an inline element and make it smaller so that it still stays at the top. But again, this is meant to be looked at on phones, so this is how it will look when you open it up as an app. So yeah, let's go see what else he does. If you guys are curious about anything, just ask a question here and I'll answer it. I'm just basically going through this with you so that you can also complete it quickly. Making the text bold, we will use B tags. So this B tag goes inside of other text tags like this, and it's to bold a specific part of the text. That's also what spans are used for, but we're not covering that right now. Making the text bold, he just wants to bold out certain parts of the same page. It's the Thor page. So I'm going to copy this. Let's go to the Thor page and let's delete all of this and paste the new stuff in. We're going to save that. If you want to know what he showed in this video, it's that if you surround certain text in this B tag, so we start the B here and we end it here, it will turn that text bold. So I'm going to save this and head back to the page now. And you can see that some of the text here is bold. So I'm going to click next here, and I'm actually going to show you span tags after this because I think it's important if we're already doing the bold tags. So adding more Avengers pages, you get the idea already. He just wants us to link each of these to its own page. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to create it for one of them and show you how it works. So who was the second Avenger here? It's Iron Man. I'm going to create a file here. I'm going to call it ironman.html. And I'm going to copy the same stuff from Thor here. I'm just going to change this to image number 2, which is the Iron Man image. And then here on the name, I'm just going to type Iron Man. It sounds like my voice is going, but yeah. So now we can just click on Iron Man here, and let me reload first. Oh, we didn't create the link. Sorry, my voice started to go there and then I got distracted. So around the second image tag here, we want to create an A tag, and we'll just link to that Iron Man file, and we'll move the ending of this A tag to the end of the line. And now that should work. We can click on it and it will take us to Iron Man page. It will say Iron Man down here. I know at the top here it still says Thor, and the information is still about Thor here. but you get the idea. They just want us to create one page for each superhero. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there and just skip ahead to the next section. Okay, section 3, adding a menu bar. So the same ID thing we did before. I could go copy it, but it's not that hard to type out. So div menu, do an a tag. Let's see, what did he do? He did index, and we'll call this home. We'll have an a tag with the hash here, and that will be about. And then an a tag with another hash here, and this will be contact. Yeah, that looks correct. And then just the styling here. We've already gone over all of this before. We're doing the styling of the menu, the styling of the a tags on the menu, and then when you hover on the a tag. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it in. And let's go through what he did. So on the menu, which is the main div, he is basically sizing it up to the width of the entire screen. And let's save this and go look at it first. So it's the width of the entire screen. He added some padding to the left and the right. So that's this extra white space you're seeing here. And then he added text decoration none to the a tags. I'm sorry, I was reading the a tags instead of this. But yeah, to the menu, he made the width 100%. So 100% means it takes up the whole width of this. The height he set to 40 pixels. So we can change that, for example, to 400 pixels here, and now it will be huge. But yeah, he set that to 40 pixels. And then the background color is cornflower blue. Can change that to whatever we want, but we'll just leave it at that. And he added a padding to the top. So I guess he wanted a bit of white space at the top here. And now we're styling the a tags off the menu. He changed the color, the font family. We've already seen all of this. It was what we had at the, let's see. It was what we did in the getting started with CSS lesson. So I won't bore you by typing out the a tag styling again. Let's just click next here. And adding an about and contact page. So now we just want to create an about and contact page and then change what the a tags for about and contact are linking to. So right now they're just linking to this hashtag here. We want to change that to make it link to an actual file. So I'm going to click new file up here, and I'll call this about.html. And another one, and I'll call it contact.html. And now for the about link here, we'll link that to the new about page, and for the contact link here, we'll link it to the contact page. And I'm just going to put some default stuff in here so that it will work. And I'll write here h1 contact page, and then on the about I'll put an h1 and I'll say about. So let's save this and make sure it works. Going to reload here. If I click on about, it will take us to the about page, and if I click on contact, we'll go to the contact page. So yeah, let's look at what he did now. the code, HTML. Okay, so this is for the contact page, I guess. And notice that up here he added the same menu bar again. So what he's doing is trying to keep that menu bar at the top for each page. So if you notice, if we click on About here, there's no more menu bar at the top. We only drew that on one page. So let me add it to the About page as well. Firstly, we want to link the CSS file here. And then we want to add that same menu bar again. I'm going to copy and paste it. And obviously, since I'm copying it and pasting it, it will look and work exactly the same. Okay, so now we can go to About, and the menu bar is still there, and we can head to Home. And we can do the same thing with the contact up here. Let me copy all of this again. Copy, go to contact. We'll paste it here and leave a line, and I need to link the files as well. Okay, so now we can go to Home, About, Contact, and always that menu bar will stay at the top. So let's head back to the IT Varsity thing here. And we'll click next here and see what else he shows us. Looks like there's nothing else. That's the end. Yeah. He also gave us some default writing to put in the About and the Contact page. That's, let me review the lesson. Okay, we're gonna have to go through quite a bit to get to it here. But anyways, the stuff he gave us to put in the contact and about page is just like default stuff. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about spans as well. Adding more Avengers pages. Looks like I skipped over it again. Anyways, let's head to this About page here, and I'm just going to show you how like spans and bold tags and all of that works. So I'm going to type lorem here and press tab so that we have some random text to work with. And let's say I wanted to bold out this section here. What I could do is I can type a B tag here, and I can move the end of this B tag to the end of the section I want to make bold. So if you look at it, this section is what's going to be bolded because it's between the opening and closing B tag here. So if I just reload this, it looks like we bolded the entire thing somewhere. But anyways, let me look through the style and see what's doing that. I'm pretty sure it's where we changed the font, but anyways, let me head back to the browser, reload. Oh, it's because we're using H1 tags. Sorry, we need to be using P tags. So H1, everything is bolded by default. So using the bold tags there wouldn't really do anything. We can't bold something that's already bolded. Okay, so now we can see that this text here is bold. But let's say we wanted to apply some other styling, like we wanted to change the color of just this text here, nothing else. What we can do is use a span tag. So instead of B here, I'm going to change this to span. And I'm going to change the closing one to span as well. Yes, I did change it to a P tag. Thanks for catching that. I think the messages are delayed here. But anyways, we're using a span tag here, and we can style the span specifically. So let's give this a class of, I don't know, I'm bad at picking names. I'm going to name this button again. So we're giving it a class of button, and now we'll create some CSS for dot button here. and I'm going to change the color to blue. And if we save this and hit back, now we can see that it changes only that text to blue. So that's how we would use a span. And we can even do something like changing the font size to, let's say, 24 pixels. And yeah, now it becomes huge, but the rest of the text stay the same. For the size here, we're not actually supposed to use pixels for font size. We're supposed to use, I think it's called EM, REM, and that's basically scaling off your device's font size. So 24 is huge here, and I think 1 is the default. So 1 EM is your regular font size of your device. Yeah, and I accidentally clicked something there. Anyways, EM is what you want to use because it will scale correctly to different devices like computers and phones and stuff. But yeah, that's basically how spans work. I don't think there's anything else I can show you here. If you guys have any more questions, leave it in the comments, or I think I'm going to end the stream if there's no more questions here. So I'll just give you guys a minute to type something out. I think there's a small delay here, so I'll just wait a bit. By the way, if any of you can't log into this IT Varsity, you don't really need to log in right now, so don't really worry about it. But yeah, they'll send you emails and stuff with your login when it's time. Okay, it looks like there's no more questions. I hope everyone is done with this. Also, the recording will be posted, so anyone that didn't make it for the live, we can just share it with them. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.